Hello, everyone. This is our first week of the live unboxing for our CSA share. So this is week number 1. And for all full shares, you would pick up either today or Thursday. And for half shares, this is week A. So I'm Stephanie Borzio, if you haven't met me yet. I'm the CSA coach for the 2021 season for Blooming Glen Farm. And I will be joining you every Tuesday night, sharing what we get in our shares, talking about storage, and also discussing some ideas of how to use the different produce that we get. So tonight is our first share. And before I go over what we received, I just want to talk about, we get the share for Blooming Glen Farm, and then there's also additional add-ons that we could have received. So if you chose to add on those items, I'll be discussing a few of them. But we had, there's an ice cream share, there's a fruit share, coffee share, egg share, mushroom share, and cheese share. So if you added any of those on, you'll pick those up with your produce share each week. The fruit share isn't happening yet. That's not until, I believe, August. And the date will come soon, but we'll hear from them directly. All the other shares began today. There's the fruit share and the ice cream share are sold out, but all of the other shares still have availability. So if you haven't added those on yet, you can still add them on. Just contact Trisha at the farm and ask her to add those. They're still available for purchase, and you can look up the pricing of all of those on the website. Okay, so that's our one announcement for tonight. So we're going to jump right into our weekly share. We have a bunch of different items. We will start with the head lettuce. So this is our head lettuce. This, it's best to leave unwashed. Put it into a plastic bag or a reusable bag and put it directly into the fridge. Do not wash it until you're ready to use it. If you wash it and then don't use all of it, put the washed pieces in a Ziploc bag with some dry towel so it absorbs the moisture and it'll last longer. So this is our head lettuce, stored in the fridge in a plastic bag, preferably unwashed. Our next one is Bok Choy. This is a large bunch of Bok Choy. Bok Choy also prefers to be in the fridge in a Ziploc bag or some sort of plastic bag. When you go to use this, it's great in stir fries, it's great sauteed or roasted. I like to separate the stems, the white stems. So when you take this apart, separate the stem because it's thicker from the actual leaf. I tend to stir fry this a lot, so the stems take longer to cook. So you're going to put the stem in your stir fry first, or whatever, your roasting pan, and then your leaves second. Those don't take as long. So I separate out the two. Storage in the fridge, in a plastic bag or wrapped in a bag. This actually prefers to be moister, so you can put a wet towel in the bottom. Okay. Kale. So we have I think it was half a pound of kale. I like to remove the band at the bottom, so we can cut, I don't know where we can cut that right off. And then this goes in a plastic bag in the fridge in your crisper drawer. I think this kale I'm turning into a salad, but you can use it in soups. You can just saute it in a pan on your stovetop. You can make kale chips. So lots of great recipes. You can throw it into smoothies. If you don't plan on using kale now, like within the next few days, you can actually blanch it and freeze it and save it for use later on. So that's an option as well. Okay, we got a beautiful bunch of spinach. Same idea with this guy. We have lots of greens today. Spinach, you want to put in plastic in your crisper drawer. I would take the band off. I guess you could leave it on, but I tend to take all the bands off before I package them up. Don't wash until you're going to use. And then this is great as is, raw in a salad or sauteed. I'm pretty sure this is what I'm going to use in my recipe for this week. So if you can hold off a day or two, the recipe will be posted on Thursday. So store this one and hold on to it until Thursday for a recipe. And that's in the refrigerator in plastic. Okay, we have half a pound of salad greens. These are probably what I would use first. So these, all of your greens don't last as long, but these greens you're gonna wanna use first. So I would use these before I use the head lettuce. These get stored in the fridge in plastic, so I just actually leave them right in that. Do not wash them until you're ready to use them. Again, if you do wash, then put them in a Ziploc bag or in plastic with dry paper towels so the paper towels absorb the moisture. All right, what did I miss? Scallions. So we got a bunch of scallions. These can be stored in a plastic bag in the fridge, or they can be stored in a glass of water. So I just have maybe an inch of water before I put that in, and I can, again, still in the fridge, but they can be stored like this. So two options for scallions. And scallions are a oniony flavor, a mild onion flavor. So I like to put those on salads. I like to use them as toppings most of the time, but they can be eaten raw. They can be put into cooked meals as well. So we got a bunch of dill. The dill you definitely want to store. So this guy I would take off the band, and then put that in a glass with about an inch of water, and then that gets stored right in the fridge. I think the two more things. Green garlic. So green garlic is young garlic. If we were to leave this in the ground, it would grow into our garlic cloves. It's also called spring garlic. I did a post on green garlic, I think it was yesterday, with all different uses and how to store. So it's really tender at the bottom. It's a milder garlic flavor. So if you can use it to replace garlic, onions, leeks, scallions. It can be eaten raw, it can be cooked, but it's going to be milder. So if you are replacing garlic, then you're going to want to add more, or know that the flavor is going to be a little bit on the milder end. To use this, you're just going to cut off the roots and the end. So we're going to slice those off. You can use the whole thing. I tend to use the bottom half. This is also going to be in my recipe that I'm going to share on Thursday. So if you want to hang on to this for that recipe, it's going to showcase, I'm pretty sure it's going to showcase spinach and green garlic. But I like to keep the bottom half and then use the top portion of it for veggie broth. So what I'm going to do over the course of the next couple of weeks is save some items like the kale stems, maybe the tops of the garlic, and we're just going to create a veggie broth with that. So it's going to go into the freezer, but you don't have to. You can use it as well. If the tops tend to be tough, which these aren't, some of them are, but some of you can kind of feel like this one's a little bit on the tougher side. You can just cut those off and put them into your veggie broth bag, like all the stuff you're saving for veggie broth. Okay, last but not least for our produce share is our strawberries. So these were pick your own. We got to pick 2 quarts out in the fields today. For these, you do not want to wash them until you are going to eat them. The moisture won't do it any good. And we want them to be able to air out. So typically they tell you to keep them in the refrigerator in a colander. So I'm gonna put them in here, and that's how they'll be stored. These won't last very long. In fact, my family's already been picking on them. So, but that was exciting to get strawberries today. They want to be stored in the fridge in some sort of colander where the moisture can escape. Okay, so that's all the produce we have. A couple of notes about plastic, because we store a lot of this in plastic. If you have other methods of storage, please let us know. But I am going to attempt, the Debbie Meyer's bags were recommended, so I'm gonna try those out this season. I know a couple of the CSA members said they do use these. These are reusable, so you don't need to use a plastic bag and immediately throw it out. You can repurpose it or reuse it. So if we have kale in the bag, one week, we can just rinse it out, dry it, and then put kale in that same bag or use it for something else. So I'm going to attempt to use these Debbie Meyer green bags, and they're supposed to really work well for our greens and our other produce. The other thing we need to talk about are all the add-ons, which I discussed in the beginning, but I have some of them to share. And before we do that, make sure you are referring to your A2Z vegetable guide. So this is posted at the top. It's a pinned post at the top of this group. I just happened to print it out because I like to hold things. So this is a printed version of the A2Z vegetable guide, vegetable storage guide. This will help you as you come home and figure out where the produce needs to go and what you need to do with it. Okay, so add-ons. We have mushrooms from Primordia Farms. So these get stored right in this paper bag. And these are shiitake mushrooms. We got half a pound. They are wonderful sauteed, roasted. These will be an optional add-on in the recipe that I share. But when you cook these, you do want to remove the stems. So take the stem off, throw that in your veggie broth bag, and saute or roast the tops. We also got eggs. So a dozen eggs from Deep Roots Valley. So those get stored in the fridge, and I actually forgot to grab my cheese and my ice cream. Let me grab them real fast. So we have, if you added the ice cream share, we have Blooming Glen mint cream. So we received a pint of that. That obviously gets stored in the freezer. And then from Valley Milk House, we have a Jack cheese. And then a softer cheese called a witchgrass. So it has a green-gray outside and a soft inside. They described it as like a cheesecake texture. So that's our witchgrass. And then our Jack. So those are all of our add-ons, except for we got coffee, I think is the only one I'm missing. So fruit is coming later, and we have a Brazilian medium roast for the coffee, which is supposed to be really good for iced coffee. So if you received that coffee in your share, try it, making it as an iced coffee. Okay, so that is it. Stay tuned for more information throughout the week. If you have good recipes for anything that you received today, make sure you post, and stay tuned for the recipe post, which will encompass several of the ingredients that we picked up today on Thursday. If you have any questions, post below and I will answer them. Thanks. Bye.